What if gun violence and crime around the drug trade could be run out of one neighborhood in Charleston? What if that program became a model for the rest of South Carolina? What would that look like? What would it mean to be able to sit on your porch at night and visit with your neighbors? What if kids could play in the parks and shoot basketball under the streetlights? What if the streets were thoroughly patrolled, not just by police officers, but also by volunteer citizens with flashlights and reflective vests? Volunteers who enable citizens to take back their neighborhoods. And what if more jobs were available? What if education levels were improved in the neighborhoods with the highest crime rates? You're watching The Connection Independent Television. On this show, you'll hear the stories of private citizens caring deeply about peace and crime prevention. You'll meet public officials and volunteers who believe a better world is possible in the places with the worst crime rates. And how will this all turn out? It's a work in progress. The proof will be in the pudding. I'm Pat Jobe. Thank you for making the connection.
Yeah, we need to close the circle here.
Yeah. You better come in.
Orlando?
Yeah.
With the name of God, the merciful benefactor, the merciful redeemer, we humbly ask you to bless us to follow the men in Scripture when they said, "Our Lord, forgive us our sins and anything that we may have done to transgress our duty, and help us against those who stand against faith." Amen.
Amen. All right, team one.
CPAD patrol, I think, is helping the community a lot. It needs to be done. Needs a lot of community involvement, which helps and shows the younger kids that older adults care about them.
They need somebody to show interest, show them that they care. They need somebody to show love. I mean, this is a dog-eat-dog world. And if all of us just turn our back and act like we don't see nothing, then we leave them out there helpless. And the sharks are going to get them.
America has a serious problem with drugs right now. I was sitting there with a young man telling him, the virtues of honest work and the need to do something decent with yourself, and that he didn't have to sell drugs to make a living. And he said, "Mr. Darby, what kind of car do you drive?" And I said, "I got a Nissan Sentra." He said, "I got a Beamer. And I got that by selling drugs,
What are the jobs? You go out here and you slave all day for 40 hours a week, 8 hours a day, and your paycheck ain't but $167 at the end of the week, when you could be out on the corner and work an hour and a half and make over $2,000, $3,000. Now you tell me what they're gonna choose. Up the wages, give them something, give them some incentive. $5 an hour, man, come on. You got parents out here trying to make a living, and they don't really, I thank God for grandmothers, because my grandmother's helping me with mine right now. It's no way that we can work, pay our rent.
You and your wife both work.
And maintain and try to watch the kids all at once. There's no way of doing it. And then you don't want to trust your kids in anybody care. You got some real rough places out here, and your kids are not getting treated right. So I thank God for grandmothers. But as for the community, as for this community in a whole, there's nothing here. There's nothing for them to do. What you see is what it is.
Just like this playground we on right now. No kind of activity, no kind of kid activity going on. And this is like the whole inner city of Charleston. You can come on Mall Park, Martin Park, Calhoun, Hampton Park, you go Harmon Park, you see nothing's going on with the kids.
Mayor Joe Raleigh built 2 parks on east side of the peninsula. Skip 2 community within between. Park and Recreation ain't doing nothing for the east or west side. The children don't have nothing to do.
I was thinking about even coming out here, I said, "What? Damn, am I putting my face out there in the open? Am I putting myself in harm's way by doing this?" Because a lot of people know me in the community. But you know what? I don't care now. I'm at a place. I'm not afraid. If you want to take me out for telling the truth or tell you what's going on, then take me out. I'm going to die for something. Let me die for the right thing. I done been out here on the streets for a long time doing drugs, robbing, stealing, doing all of those things. Destroying myself. because nobody really showed me interest.
When I was growing up, we had little clubhouses like that building right there, where somebody had the door open that was bringing kids in to play games or whatever. And I want to know from the mayor of Charleston what's going on with the recreation funds. I mean, this has bothered me a long time, and I thank God that you guys stopped me to get my opinion.
It's a bad situation. You know, like as for myself, I'm glad somebody, you know, we talk about people showing interest. A lady named Mary Ann saw something in me, and she said, you know, I think you would be a good candidate because for coming to school. And I didn't want to do it at first.
Right.
But she kept coming at me and coming at me and coming at me, and she wouldn't let go. That's the kind of thing I'm talking about. People showing interest and not letting go. Next thing you know, I was in college.
Yeah. Anthony's talking about the Clemente program at Trident Technical College, which is just right over this tree in this little mall ballpark building that we're talking about. Trident Technical College's Palmer campus features the Clemente program, which we featured on our first show, and we also featured Anthony Green on our first show, and we hope to have him back again. Thanks, guys. Thanks so much. I appreciate it. There's been a lot of crime in this neighborhood, which is referred to as the East Side. You and a number of leaders have started CPAD. Tell us about how it got started and what's happened since.
Well, are you talking about the first phase of CPAD or the second phase of CPAD?
Well, let's talk about the first phase. That's very interesting to us.
Well, CPAD was born in the city of North Charleston,
right?
Because of the troubles that were there. And we formed CPAD in 1991 or so to deal with the drug activity, specifically on a place called Liberty Hill.
And what happened at Liberty Hill?
Well, within 3 months' time, the drugs were eviscerated from the community. According to the police department of North Charleston, 95% of the drugs left, 100% of the prostitution, I should say. No more home invasions, no more stabbings, no more shootings, no more killings. And we stayed for 9 months, and as a result of that, there were no drug-related deaths on Liberty Hill for 11 years.
We think it's time for black males to stand up, be recognized, and accomplish something in the communities in which they live. So if you remove the incentive for somebody to stand out here and sell drugs because it has no customers, eventually they probably have to go to some other area. Then it'll be up to that community to take a stand. That's our focus.
And you guys are ready to help anybody in another community who
so that's the purpose. It's well stated that primarily on the East Side, because they invited us, and any other community that wants to take a stand, we'll be glad to go there and show them how it's done and be a demonstration that it is possible, that it does work, and that you can do it safely.
And I'm simply passing something on. There are many great men and women who actually gave their lives for me to be where I am today, and for me to be in the positions that I am and not to give back and not to assist, it would be an affront to those who really helped.
When I first met Mr. Darby, our spirit just agreed together. You know, when you love helping people, you know, you put party and you put, you know, other things aside and do just right. You don't see, I say, political hang-ups, you just see people. And when you love helping people, you know, you just put all differences aside for the common good.
You're coming out here, you're walking the streets with these guys in CPAD. You're actually putting yourself in a certain amount of danger. What is the payoff for you? Why would a guy like you do something like this?
For knowing that the reason why we are here, when we study the history of America, other people fought for us to even much have this land. We're on a street now called Columbus. And Columbus, they said, discover America. And we're near America Street right now. So when we look at the people who were fighting the British and everything, and we look at the preamble of the Constitution of the United States of America, we see that people was willing to give their life so that we could pursue happiness, life, liberty, etc. So this is one of the reasons why I'm doing it, to try to tell the founding father of this wonderful country, thank you.
Well, certainly there is a major danger where drive-bys have been common. Someone could easily come by and just shoot. And the way these young guys nowadays, they have no fear. There is no trepidation on their part to pull the trigger and just shoot you. So there is some danger, but because of the sacrifices of others, because they too face danger. And that gives us the courage to do what we have to do, because there's a generation coming behind us. And just as previous generations have suffered and died for us, I think it's now our time. And we have a statement or a phrase I should say on CPAD, is that this is our watch, because surely some of us, we must look up for the generations to come.
Recently, I had my car vandalized. The windshield was broken in too, and it was just completely smashed. And that's the most recent thing that's happened to me. A lot has happened to my friends in terms of theft, or my friend's car was recently stolen as well.
We've had about 7 break-ins on cars at my house alone. I said, I'm going to City Hall, I'm going to the police department right now, and I'm going to talk to them about it and tell how sick, fed up I am about it.
How did your friend feel who had her car stolen?
She's scared because she lives alone in an area maybe not very many college kids live in. So she's just kind of feels like a target now, and she's felt very violated because her entire car is just gone one morning.
I want to get our neighborhood cleaned up. I want to get some street lights on our street. I want to take care of these 5 abandoned houses across the street from us, and make it be a place where criminals don't dwell and prey on us.
It's all our problem. It's not one individual problem. It's everybody in the community problem. My community, your problem, and my problem. We can't change what already happened, but we can go forward and make a difference. Our grandkids want to go back to when I used to walk the street with my father, my grandmother. I used to play balls in these streets. We didn't have to worry about anybody turning the corner, shooting, and we have to duck and run. That was very little minor when we was coming along.
I'm told the stories of how it used to be 25, 30, 40 years ago. So some community, you are your brother's keeper.
The kids today are held hostage in their own neighborhood. And this is what we're trying to do, to bring the neighborhood back where it used to be. I'll sacrifice anything for my grandchildren. Yes, sir.
The incidence of random gunshots has been substantially reduced in the neighborhood where these people are doing patrols. I think that's a good thing, but they got to stick with it. This is not, in 6 months and they're still doing it and there doesn't seem to be anything happening. When they go away, it's going to start up again, if they go away. But it's an excellent idea. And, now that I think about it, these can become the examples for the children in the neighborhood. The men who are taking charge.
I'm just a firm believer that you can't go wrong by doing right. People are not born evil. The issue is folks here feel like they only have one option. They don't. And the CPAD Staffing and Training Agency is providing jobs to people. Some people don't trust folks, but they know CPAD. They know this organization. So when you make that connection, people feel comfortable. And I'm not going anywhere. I live here, I work here, I've gone to school here. I'm not leaving Charleston.
Problems that we have in challenged neighborhoods, in struggling neighborhoods, are not problems that evolve overnight. They're not problems that have simple answers. I think it's incumbent upon us to be able to change the neighborhood, help everybody's boat to float, not just economically, but socially, educationally, spiritually. When we do that, then you rebuild a solid community, and you reconfigure that community to be what I think it was meant to be.
What are you hearing back from the community since this has started? What kind of feedback are you getting from the community?
Just positive feedback, especially from the residents, some of the older people. We're seeing them out on the porches now at night when they're coming by. There's an expectation that we'll be out patrolling. So it's been good. We have a judge that walks with us. We have county council members, city council members, some religious leaders, church members. We have about 20 patrollers or the CPAD members on a regular basis. and then you count the officers that are accompanying us. It's a pretty big crowd on a regular basis.
And CPAD is promoting that, the racial harmony, and it's nice to walk through the community and seeing African American and European Americans sitting down, talking together in the same neighborhood. It's wonderful, it's marvelous, because we have people of different religion that would be at odds with each other, and this approach to help to fight the drugs have brought these different minds together. We have a whole lot in common, enable us to start working on that what we have in common.
Can I get you to talk about why you're doing this?
Well, just like Mr. Price said earlier, it's time for black men to stand up and be responsible for taking back our communities and showing that there's a better way to live in a peaceful way and just protecting our neighborhoods.
This year here alone, it's been so many murders and deaths in the area with just the young black youth, and you know, I'm just one that want to do my part and just come out and try to support the joint effort of everybody who out here.
What kind of work do you do? What is your background?
I worked for Federal Express for 20 plus years. I was a manager and in security with them, and right now I'm kind of semi-retired.
How does this compare to security challenges you've had with Federal Express?
You can't compare the two, because at Federal Express there's a controlled environment. This is like real life stuff, and you don't know what you're going to be dealing with. And we wanted to make sure that we have law enforcement involved with us so we feel safe out here, and that's one of the reasons why we feel safe, because we do have law enforcement backing us up. The more you give, the more you get back. So I figure that if I'm out here doing this, maybe it'll make it better for my kids and my kids' kids and their children.
Like the motto is, you know, be a strong black male, be an example for another black male, that he can come out here, support the community, and support, you know, the nonviolence in the mission that we have out here.
You have men who are standing up without fear, saying this is our community, we're taking it back, we're not going to allow drug dealers or drug consumers to take over our community.
You told me on the telephone that the incidents of random gunshots have gone down dramatically after the CPAD patrols have started. Why would a young person in this neighborhood fire a weapon?
Now that's a good question. I wish I could get inside their minds and find out, but you know, peer pressure, you know, the pressure of neighborhood gangs saying this is my territory, this is my block.
But you got to give these kids some sort of hope. You got to keep them in school. When they're in school, they have to learn something rather than being socially promoted year after year. It takes a tremendous amount of work and willpower to do the things that need to be done to keep kids from going into the criminal world.
So what we came up with an idea that we would give these youth an opportunity with little thing to make money with. They could sell it for $1, candy bars, incense, little oil, and they could keep half of the money, like they do in the school for fundraiser, and they do in the churches for fundraiser. But this time here, the children would keep the money, and that will start them to be responsible and take some of the pressure off their parents.
You're a businessman here in Charleston.
Yes, I'm a private businessman. I own Price Towing Radiator Service, a family-owned business that's been in this community for 40 years. My dad retired 5 years ago, and I stayed and still carrying it on right now today. You know, it's always been my philosophy is, you know, if you can get folks empowered with knowledge, then you turn that knowledge into you know, jobs and money. You know, you take out the aspects of drugs, but when folks don't have a future to look up to or hope, they turn to whatever means necessary, which is in the survival mode. But when you empower folks economically, you take away things like drugs, you take away things like crime, because, you know, they feel a part of something. And that's our motto. We want to make folks feel like they are a part of something.
Well, what you actually see is an improvement in the way of life and the way people are conducting themselves in public.
3 to 4 weeks ago, one basically could not even drive down these streets without some drug dealer approaching the car or the truck. But right now, the streets are clean, safe. There have been no shootings, no major crimes since we've begun patrolling here on the east side.
There's been not one murder on the east side when we've been patrolling. First week, you know, they went from 35 gunshot spotters a week to 0. folks out in the neighborhood now, old folks are saying, we're glad you're here. They're able to walk and, sit on their porches. So all that inspires us to do more, and it's always to whom much is given, much is required.
As far as I'm concerned, any detriment that they can eliminate here on the east side is more than worthwhile. And they're actually, it's a great impact, and I hope to see it continue. I know you were speaking with Mr. Lewis, Councilmember Lewis, and he's a great advocate, so they should continue at all costs.
Can you think of a particular young man or young woman within your sphere of influence who's made the kind of 180-degree change that you're hoping for the whole community?
Well, I can go back to a number of folks. 25 years ago, I did a lot of volunteer coaching, and it just touches me to have kids come walk out to me in the supermarket, or if I see them at a football game saying, "Hey, Coach, you made an impact on my life, and I'm proud and glad to have known you." And that was one of the things that when I ran for office, I had grandparents, parents, and former kids who I actually coached, saying, "Hey, I want to vote for you. We believe in what you're doing because we know you're a good person." So I've got numbers of people I can tell great testimonies about. But if I can just say 1 out of 10, that's a testimony. Just 1 out of 10 is a testimony. And we want to save all. That's realistic, but the reality of it is, people make bad choices, and sometimes bad choices result in, in bad results.
There's a big difference. But I wanted to walk. Bad knees and all, I really wanted to walk with them, and they said no. So I says, well, there has to be something I can do. And I says, I know what I can do. I can cook. So this is what I do every day.
Yeah, we're so impressed with you. And I know you didn't do what you do to be impressing people.
No, I don't.
Why do you do what you do?
Well, I feel like this, they came out here to help me. Mm-hmm. My neighborhood, this is the neighborhood that I live in. And to see these guys walk up and down the streets, and with these guys, they're very dangerous out here. Bullets fly over me all the time. I've come home from work, and a guy pulled up. I imagine it was a buyer, and a guy came from around the corner and stepped to his car, and then the guy went back around the corner. He came around the corner, and luckily I dropped something on the floor of the car. I wasn't driving the van then, I was driving the car, and I dropped something on the floor, and he came, pow, pow. I just ducked down on the floor, and I was picking up something, but then when the gunfire started going off, I just stayed there. And then the guy pulled off. He didn't get hurt or anything. Probably owed them some money, I guess. I don't know. But these are the kind of things that go on. I'm in my bed at home. Gunfires go off. You have to roll over, hit the floor, And it's bad. Mm-hmm. And since they've been out here, no trouble. They've gone. Mm-hmm. Well, they've disappeared off the streets. And now I'm able to sit on my porch. I haven't sat on my porch in 4 years. It's been 4 years.
And you can now?
Yes, I can. I'll be there in a few seconds. So I made 1 pot of lima beans with turkey, and I made another pot of lima beans with pigtails and pig feet, ham hocks, and smoked neck bones. And then I also made baked turkey, and baked chicken and fried chicken, and some cornbread and rolls, and juices I brought. That's it tonight. And a cake, bananas and oranges. I'm a cab driver.
Yeah.
So
you got plenty of money.
However long it takes. No. However long it takes. I just stay out there and I make it.
So you're actually making a few extra runs to handle the grocery bill for this. Oh,
they offered, but I can't do that.
Yeah.
I cannot do that. I'm so comfortable. Now I'm able to bring my little grands over to visit. When before I wouldn't because I was afraid of bullets. But now they can visit, and I can invite my friends to visit. There was no company before. I just want everybody to come together as one. And for the kids to do better. Off these drugs, off the streets. And we could make a big difference. Could be a big difference in this world. I love them all. I think they're great people, and to go out here and walk these streets, I think they're just great. They're great people. Awesome.
What about the sense of community you guys feel when you get together? I mean, do you joke around with each other?
Oh, definitely we joke, because life, without joking and without kidding and without doing little having fun, life is worthless.
Yeah.
Life, you cannot have a life with a straitjacket.
Here you have a group of men telling jokes, but yet they are serious about helping the community. So, and as a matter of fact, we are of the opinion that CPAD is going to be something long-lasting, because the camaraderie, the friendship, the brotherhood, it really brought about a spectacular thing for us to be together.
And you guys are definitely not playing when you're walking.
No, this is very serious. This is serious as cancer when we walk the street at night.
This band of brothers, if you want to call it, you know, this bond will never be broken.
CPAD, we are dealing with African American, not just males, but African American men who decided to take a stand against this ugly disease in terms of drugs. And here we are, because so many African American men don't get the credit that we rightly deserve in terms of doing what we ought to do. So we have African American men who say that enough is enough, and we are men enough to take back our community. And enough cannot be said about that.
What are your best hopes for this neighborhood?
I hope it's just restored back to like it should be. Folks can walk up and down the neighborhood like they want to. Crime is eradicated, drugs are eradicated, and you know, I just want them to live like any other citizen or any other American would want. You know, the American dream.
When President Kennedy was in office, he said, we're going to put a man on the moon. We're going to put a man on the moon. The reporter said, well, how? He said, I don't know. But we are the United States of America. We will find a way. What happened? Mission accomplished. True mission accomplished.
So we end up where we began, in a community full of hope and promise, and sometimes full of guns and drugs. A place where some citizens feel they are prisoners in their own homes, while others are fighting for the jobs, the education, the new vision it will take to make this neighborhood the best it can be. Go to our website, theconnectionshow.org, to learn more about Pastors Inc., CPAD, and other groups that are working to improve this neighborhood. Pastors Inc. is actually headquartered here in this building where we're shooting today. It has a business center and an art gallery that features art by artists from here in the neighborhood. Look again at the Clemente program at Trident Technical College's Palmer campus and learn about groups that are making dreams come true. So many times stories like these end up with happy endings because of the goodwill and hard work of just one more person. Are you that one more person who can get involved in the East Side or some other neighborhood that needs your help? This is The Connection Independent Television. I'm Pat Jobe. Thank you for making The Connection.
When we listen to a story and we see the world through someone else's eyes, it can help us understand them as they talk of what's important in their lives. We start breaking down those walls. We're not so different after all. We're making a connection. Making a connection. Making a connection. Making a connection. Making a connection.